You know, it's an interesting task being recorded. You have to tell yourself what the most important part of yourself is in order to share it with the outside world. Uh, it's completely ready to trip your entire self up. And everything you thought about yourself, it just turns out to not be true. How good you were, how much you practiced, how much you mattered, how much you thought about it. And then when it comes time to actually put that together, show it to other people, it shakes you because you have to be confident enough to look at your own life and say, this was good for me, this was worth it. But to tell other people that what you're doing is worth sharing to them as well. And that's just what it's like on the internet. And if you don't think about those questions, well, they'll think about you real quick. So many people just want to use recording themselves for the easy way to live quote-unquote freely, but really, when you're forced with all your actions to abide by some set of rules you don't even care about, it destroys you. And that realization has kept me from doing said recording of myself, because if I get it wrong, I know I'll hate it. And I know quite a bit about what I want, actually. And I never trusted myself to actually do it. And maybe I wasn't ready, maybe I was. Maybe I just needed to trust and allow myself to fail. But really, I just never considered it in the first place. It wasn't even an option. I never let myself decide that I was even close to being able to do something like this. Not even anything special, just talk. And back in the day, I would play Minecraft videos. I would make Minecraft videos, rather. And hope that my friends would watch or care. But really, they didn't. I didn't even care. I mean, I sort of did. But I felt like I wasn't doing anything special, because guess what? I wasn't. And it's not anything wrong with that, but I didn't know enough about myself to, like, actually make it interesting. Nothing that I could uniquely put out to the world and say, hey, maybe you'd want to see this. Maybe this is worth it for you. Because it was worth it for me. And that's what I'd have to say first. And yeah, honestly, even in the first 5-10 minutes of doing it, I can already say it's been worth it. I'm sure you could already tell from the beginning, my nerves were shaky. I didn't know where I was gonna go, just where I was starting. And I was dying a couple times in the beginning, but after you settle into it, it becomes normal, and it allows you to focus, not just on the game. I'm actually not really focused at all on the game. The game doesn't matter, but as long as I'm just okay, then the game is okay. Because I know what to do. I've done all these rooms many times. It's kind of just about doing it, you know? I guess I never really explained what I'm doing here. Trying to beat this level deathless. Now that I'm thinking about it. Trying to beat all these rooms. Every single room that you're seeing here, I want to do all of them together without dying. That's my goal. And I'm not ready. I've got some ideas like this room. Hold up. Not like that. Hold up. Yeah, fuck that room. Anyway. I've done all the other levels up to this point deathless in this game. Over the course of, I don't know, year and a half. It's been a lot of effort over, you know, on and off. Not always forcing myself to like grind through it, but you know, as you get into a certain level, you start to feel it. You're like, oh my god, I can do this, and that feeling is addicting. And I'll sit there and grind it out usually when I'm close. I haven't gotten necessarily to that point on this level yet. I've definitely practiced some, but it's been so intermittent that like, if I'm never in the point where I'm like, all right, now it's done. I can grind this to the very end now, then I can just hit it. If I don't get that addictive flow, like as I kind of invest into it, then I will stay spaced out in the times that I will practice, and because it's spaced out, it becomes harder to actually be consistent and get even reinforcing the difficulty of getting to the point where I'm like, oh, I can make it. And that's just how it is with something difficult, especially when it's not the only thing I'm trying to do. But you know, the irony there is that you try to do so many things, and I ended up finding that I can do none of them. And I don't even think it's necessarily an issue of it being of it being bad to try to be doing so many things, but like, it's when you are doing one thing in a certain moment, you have to fully focus to that and be completely attentive, because if you aren't, then you'll just have wasted your time, really, and just done the same thing you've always done. And I would know that because, you know, I played competitive Overwatch for 3-4 years, competed as a coach, and I've seen it in my own self where, you know, I'd have moments of improvement and growth and actually making progress and being proud of myself, but very quickly you can find yourself responding to negative moments with just anxiety and void, not really responding at all, just doing the same thing you've always done. The thing that felt good the first time, you just hold on to it, and you think, if I just keep doing this, maybe everything will be okay. But, you know, never really the case. You end up just occupying your mind, not really aware of what you want, or what you're actually going for, just kind of hoping that you stumble into these vague notions and dreams. And there's a lot of dreams. Lots of dreaming. But dreaming's not bad. It's just when you live in the dream, like, not in the, oh, I'm living my dreams. It's more like you're living inside of something that doesn't exist. You're living asleep in that sort of sense. Something I relate to a lot. Because really, I know that I'm the type of person who could sit down and think forever. There would be no end to it. And that's intimidating. Because I'm not always comfortable with what I would see. And that decision to look away is not one that has to be thought through. It's not one that I have to really put a time and attention into like everything else. It's something that I can allow to happen. And it's almost comforting in a way to be able to say, well, I just don't care right now. Because it allows the pressure to just fall off. And there's a lot of pressure. Not really from anyone, just myself. The pressure I put on myself, you know, I look to the outside world and I see hundreds, thousands of problems. And my brain says, why not you? why can't you go out there? And those uncomfortable questions of, well, why am I not out there? What happened? Where did I go wrong? How can I be so powerless to do anything? Those are the questions I would immediately get confronted with if I wanted to walk away. Those are the first things I'd have to answer. Because otherwise, I sit here and can just not think about it. I can just do that for eternity until I die, probably. Or lose all my friends. Whichever happens first, right? Not talk to anyone. Not see any family. Not know how they're doing. Not tell them how I'm doing. Probably because I'm ashamed that I haven't done anything. And then I see them in a similar state. My friends, my family. Not doing great. And I see myself in them. And I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And obviously they don't either. So what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to see them confronted completely with their problems just by looking at them? And see my own self, my own problems, and not buckle under that pressure. It's tough. But fuck it. Do it anyway, bitch. Just fucking work. Just do what you have to, and just sit down. Enjoy your time. Because I promise you, when you don't run, and you just let it come to you, well, that's the point of running, is that it comes to you. Oh shit! What the fuck? I didn't plan that. What the fuck? What the fuck? Oh, wow. What a moment. Oh, god damn it. I'm crying. Oh, Jesus. 11 minutes? God damn, bro. Anyway. Wow. That's the berry. Guess we'll see where we can do. Decided I need a bit of a process if I'm gonna get through this. Allow yourself the deathless run. Size yourself up. First death, practice that room 3 times. Pick up the golden berry again. You make it past the room, you can keep going. If not, guess we'll figure it out. That's a lot of planning. Alright. Look. Okay. We'll give it 3 tries just because. Yep. Alright, one more try. I need to make sure I'm like warming up. You kind of have to get the golden jitters out, and then you're actually seeing where you can go and how far you can get. Cause you're like, oh god, this thing is following me, and I'm running. Yeah, it's okay. He's a friend. Okay. Oh, wow. Oh. Terrifying. Went off script there. In more ways than one. Fuck. Yeah, I've got a set sequence for that room. Once it's out the window, once I've messed it up a little bit, it gets very chaotic very quickly. And I have to completely adapt on the fly in that room. It's terrifying. I don't mind practicing it so I can relearn that script, because obviously I'm not doing it intuitively. Honestly, that whole section needs to be practiced, to be real. Best way to do that, return to map. Go to the chapter. This is the hardest one in the entire level, for sure, beyond a shadow of a doubt. It's worth sitting down and practicing many, many times, just because it will be your run ender, and you will waste like the whatever 3 minutes it takes to get there. Yeah, it's just, it can be horrifying if you're not prepared. And it's like, because you know it sucks, because you know it's difficult when you get there, especially if you haven't practiced. Okay, I've died there twice in that way. Especially when you know it's difficult, when you get there, you're like, oh god, my nerves, they're shaking, I know this thing is difficult, and I know I have not prepared. And it's like, it's almost self-fulfilling in a way, where like, you have to actually feel like you deserve to make it through. And you feel like you deserve to make it through by not dying. You don't convince yourself through anything other than your own ability to do it. And you're like, yeah, I've done this thousands of times. I did it. I was doing all right then. I'll probably be okay now. And if not, well, let's hope it was a surprise, like that. Yeah, that's the thing about these deathless runs, eh? They kick your ass. I guess for people who are not accustomed to deathless runs, it might be heartbreaking to see 3-4 minutes of absolute concentration broken by the fact that you'd have to restart. But that's how it goes. That's why I fell in love with it in the first place. Because it's like, fuck, can you do it? Can you withstand the fact that dying is getting rid of all that time you spent? That, if you aren't careful, you'll have quote-unquote wasted all your time. And that's, I think that's quite a striking idea to me, the idea of wasting time. Because I find that for as much as I've been given, how much have I really used? To the point where, like, I was worthy of wielding that time to do something. How much have I created? And that kind of gets back to some of the ideas earlier. Sitting down in front of the camera. How do I know? There's that intense blockage that prevents you from starting. The realization that to do something worthwhile is an intense pressure to put on yourself. Because so many people have done things that are decidedly not worthwhile. In fact, decidedly not so. And oftentimes actively hurt people. That's just a thing people do. But like, try anyway, because if you let them, well, I mean, the same impulses that prevent you from doing something worthwhile, those same fears, the ones where you just give in to the impulse to not do anything, I mean, that impulse is just as easy as the one to actively hurt people. And if you're not careful and you just let it be difficult for yourself, then you'll be guilty by complacency. And that's not a fact that many people are comfortable with admitting, that they can idly stand by and watch other people be in pain and it be kind of their fault. Because your perception of the world is not some immaterial thing, it's yours, and you know it's there. You see it. You know something bad exists, and all you've done is let it sit there. Let it control you. Let it say, this is not mine. Try to erase yourself of your agency in the situation to do something about it. Yeah, I mean, it's more comfortable to think of the world in that way, I suppose. But comfort isn't what makes you finish a deathless level, that's for sure. Or level deathless. It's not necessarily the most comfortable thing to ram your head into spikes over and over in a game or not. But it's like, what the fuck are you doing wrong, huh? Don't touch the spikes! Man, I was supposed to be practicing the third chapter. Fuck. I got so distracted. Alright, get back. Wait, no, I can just do this. I want to get 3 times deathless on this whole chapter. Or, yeah. Chapter is confusing with the terminology of the game. Section? Yeah, section. Chapter would be like the actual level itself, the whole level. But that's for the Celeste nerds out there. Hi, I'm playing Celeste. Don't know if I told you. Ow, missed a cycle. Now I'm dead. Cool. Alright, let's get this right. Honestly, let's get this room 5 times in a row, because obviously I can't do this. So. Oops. There we go. Actually, wait. You need to do it from the door because it's slightly different. Here, I'll even show you. So like when you're walking through the door, you see you're coming right from the frame, the door frame, but when you're here, you're like 3-4 pixels off. That can be enough to fuck with the entire cycle of the room. Because you see when I'm coming down here and I'm going through here, I have to like not have these guys come onto my head as I go across, which is very well possible. To offset it just slightly enough where like the 3 pixels difference is enough to kill me, and that's why this particular level is kind of annoying, but that's okay. I fucked it up. Oh well. So my setup on here, I like to jump, let the jump go down a little bit, and then dash up. Ow, not like that. Into that little spring there. That allows me to have enough of the timing down where I can just kind of execute like that for the entire room. I purposely did that so I can do the room again. Yeah, see, because if I do it too early, I get hit by the spike. If I do it too late, it looks okay, but when you get into here, it kind of starts fucking with that towards the very end of the room, and you're like, oh god. That's your response. Terrifying. Fuck it up. I've already fucked with this, but we're good. Yeah, looking pretty decent on this room. I definitely practiced this room a lot back in the day. Over the course of a couple months. I've been on this level for a while. As you could imagine. It's been a couple months. Yeah, that was not... I turned my brain off. I kind of forgot if I'm supposed to be doing diagonals there or not. I'm gonna have to like focus on this for a second. Nah, that was definitely not it. Okay. So we start like this. Yep. Yeah, this looks good. Maybe. Yeah, it's scuffed, but I don't think that was my original idea for this room, but I think it works. I know, wonderful commentary, right? And if you get there, and if you can sit on the wall, it's probably safer too. It's just hard to hit that sometimes. Ow. Yeah, because 9 times out of 10 you're just gonna hit the spring. Yeah, this is what I was supposed to be doing. Except I kind of fucked up the height there. Whoops. And this is really deathless, everyone. You sit in the same room and you get your ass beat. Over and over again. Damn, too high. I think I am supposed to do 1 up dash there. Yeah, that's right. I'm remembering. Unrusting. And then 1 up, and then... Okay, well I wasn't supposed to grab, but it should be fine. Ah! You love it. You love it. That might be too much, we'll see. Oh yeah, see that's why you're supposed to do the up dash there. Yeah. Alright, I'll start counting. 1. 0. 3 times in a row. That's 0. Okay, well that was... Yeah. That's partially why you want the up dash earlier there, so that you can actually get enough height. Like that. Because I'm hitting... Okay, I just kind of... I think I messed up my timing on last dash thing. But when you get it... Because if you look at these springs, you can actually hit them at any part of the hitbox, and it will send you with the same trajectory just at that point. So if you hit the spring on a higher point, you'll start from a higher area and potentially can go farther. Which is kind of why dashing into them is kind of funny. Because when you dash into it from below, you're actually like guaranteeing that you hit the first possible frame to hit the spring, basically. But it's also kind of strange too. It's always strange. Haven't you known? One. Even though it was scuffed as hell, we'll count it. Ah! 0. Yep. That's what I was gonna say. Okay. 1. 2. Okay. We're getting an actual set down. Oh, that was not the money. That was not the money. 0. We're gonna do it till I remember. Yeah, we can wait on that. Alright, cool. Yep, 2. Oh, wow. Damn. That's unfortunate. Okay. I wasn't feeling like I was finished with this room anyway. Alright, a little scuff, but it should be okay. That was dangerous, but we went for it. One. Hey, if you hit those, you hit those, okay? That's all I'm saying. Yeah, sometimes if I'm out of cycle and I really don't know where... Ow. Wow, same death. I really don't know where the fuzzy is gonna be. And I hit it anyway and I'd like go for it. Just kind of based off feel, I guess. Where I'm like, I'll probably be okay. I'm basically praying. Because I don't know that cycle. And, you know, there's obviously skill to like being able to visually identify. See, I almost died there. Being able to visually identify when you can and cannot go. Okay, that. Oh my fucking danger. But at the end of the day, that shit could just kill me. If you've ever played this game, you know exactly what I mean. I don't know, was that 1 or 2? I don't even remember. We'll call it 1. Okay, that was a little dangerous, but it worked. Oh, yeah, I was way too slow on that. I could feel it. I was like, ah, it's death. You know, the nice thing about doing it this way too, when practicing these rooms, is it kind of lets you focus on something that's manageable in like a current session, where like the goal ultimately is to beat the entire level deathless, right? But if you tried to rush yourself, you tried to like do everything now, you tried to get to the very end, you just kept doing deathless runs, you'd probably get stuck on a room. And I'm not gonna even say probably, because I've just done this. I've been a victim of this problem, where you think you're like, whatever, I don't need to practice, and you get this certain room where like, whatever, you can do it 70% of the time, but like doing a room 70% of the time on a, well, okay, doing 100 rooms 70% of the time. Now that's a lot of chances. That's a lot of odds you're rolling. Because even though it's a majority, and you're like, I'm pretty damn comfortable with this room, you still, that extra 30%, you just keep rolling it on every room. And eventually you're gonna die. And the worst part is that if the 70% roll is 5 minutes into a 10-minute run, you're wasting 5 minutes every time just to practice that shitty room once. So yeah, it's important. And necessary. This really is part of the process there. Damn it. Yeah, that's the only way to like not go crazy. Because you will work yourself very thin if you're just doing deathless runs over and over. Because you'll feel like you're doing so well. It's so tricky. Because you'll do well, you'll run 5 minutes flawlessly, and then you get to the one room that you're like, I mean, I practiced it, but I guess not enough. And it'll kill you, and you'll be like, I played so well and I was so close and I couldn't do it, lol TXD. And you're kind of setting yourself up for like mental failure, whereas when you're sitting in one room over and over, you kind of lower the expectation for yourself. Not even in a bad way, you're just like, I'm a person that can do one thing at a time. It allows you to focus on the specific mistakes you're making in that room and be like, oh, I didn't realize I was doing this, but now that I've done this over and over, here's a mistake I'm making that is getting in the way of me completing this room. And now I can kind of honestly seamlessly account for it. Like, see, now there's a couple times now where I've been hitting the spring too early, and I'm just dying immediately for it, that would be a run ender. Literally, a run ender. 6 minutes up. Okay, now I'm starting to exaggerate, but it would be like 2-3 minutes up to that point, completely wasted. I go back to the start, and my brain's not even thinking about this room because I saw it for half a second. I'm thinking about the 3 minutes I just experienced, you know. So yeah, it's important. Ow. I noticed how I even hesitated to climb up, and I still did. Honestly, I might have hit 3 at some point during this ramble, but like, fuck it, I don't care. I probably just got to 2 though. I think that's 2. Oh shit, is that 3? Can I get a 4th? Nope. Actually, I would like to break my record because this room sucks. One. Yeah, man, on one hand, I know exactly what wow, that's unfortunate. On one hand, I know exactly what I do wrong, in terms of running away. And on the other hand, when you run away, you don't really care that you're running. It's been an interesting dichotomy over the course of Check's Watch my whole life. Always kind of feeling something's wrong. And to some degree knowing, too. But just the idea of actually getting there. What it actually takes to sit down and be figuring out what are the little fuzzies I'm dying to in real life, you know? It's pretty apt, honestly. Little mistakes, the little things you just give into. You are running through a 24-hour day just to make one small mistake, and then it's not even like you're hurting someone. You're just like not taking advantage of the most of your life, and the freedom that you have as a person to like actually do something. And it's a pretty serious thing to fuck up. But we don't really think about it that way. Not very often. That might have been too much waiting. We'll see. It looks okay. This is so risky. What the fuck? Okay, whatever. It worked. I think I'm on like 3 or 4 now. I don't even know. I'm just gonna keep going till I die. Oh, fair. I could kind of sense it too. I was like, I'm a little high right now on the y-axis there. That's not even the room I died on, bro. On the run. I wouldn't mind. Actually, is that doable? I'm kind of curious now. Oh, totally. What the fuck? That's so dangerous though, because I don't know what cycle that fuzzy is on. I just kind of glided right through it. Okay, this is the room. Yeah, fuck this room. It's okay, as long as you hit everything, it really is not that difficult. But it's when you start to fuck up, which is what makes these rooms so insidious, by the way. Is because, like, when you're in practice, you're like, oh yes, let me just do the same cycle every time. But then you just, like, forget a small part of the cycle in an actual run, and you're like, oh, the entire room's different, and all my practice is meaningless. Like that, I just grabbed the wall, like, what? Not meaningless, just significantly harder, because I'm also focusing on the fact that, like, oh, my situation's different. I actually have to think right now, in the moment. Yeah, not a difficult room overall, just like you kind of have to like remember that that fuzzy will jump scare you, and then if you miss that jump right there, oh god, what the fuck am I doing? I forgot he comes down. Ugh. That's, yeah, that upwards dash into the wall bounce is what it's called, because I'm dashing up and then pressing space, right, to get extra height, and a little bit of horizontal movement too. That was interesting. Oh damn. Because I kind of have to like dash up against the wall, close to the wall. Okay, hold on. No, he was too far away. I got camped. Okay. Interesting. I feel like I could probably wait on. Okay. In general, though, fuck. In deathless, if you find that like you've kind of fucked up and you don't know where you're going, it's not a speed run. You don't have to like complete it as quickly as possible. You can sit there and kind of calculate out like where am I going? How am I gonna do this? Obviously, like usually you're gonna be on a wall, so you have limited stamina. But if you have the time and you feel like you're safe, you can be like, oh god, what is going on? Okay, I'm fine. Let me just do this. It is obviously going to be a little harder on something like this, where you're just like, you're constantly on the move because these fuzzies are on the move, and like, see, like sometimes you just get camped on your way back, and you're just like, that's difficult to account for, significantly in advance, unless you just know the cycle. Yeah, these guys are fucked up. They will kill you. Because when it comes down to deathless, like, what you really want is for everything to just be so seamless that you don't even have to think about it. You want to minimize the amount of thinking you're doing in an actual run. Like, if I can sit there and talk about literally anything, or just think, I suppose, is what I would normally do. It's kind of the goal, because then I'm not feeling challenged, which is good. You don't want to feel challenged by something that will kill you. Yeah, very interesting feeling you specifically have to cultivate. Also, I'm gonna fucking... Oh! Okay. If I had to press space there, I would have died. Oh god. Okay. Not gonna... Wait, I missed it! Hold on. Saveable, saveable, saveable. No! Oh my god. Oh my god. I forgot about the fuzzy on the wall. I'm telling you, dude, it's the random shit that gets you. Actually, okay, what I just did there might be so much nicer than what I've been doing. Okay, that was obviously not the move. Wait, no, did I even reset the room? I'm just rambling at this point. I've gotten past the point of being existential at the fact that I'm recording myself. So, you get to enjoy it, whatever the fuck this is. Okay, I've like broken the cycle. I don't know. Maybe that was the play though. Wait. Okay, maybe not like that though. I tried going over it. Yeah, I'm just like not downloading the cycle right now. Oh, actually? Wait, hold up. I got an idea. Wait. No! Okay, okay. Interesting idea. Okay. Might make it a little easier. Okay, I can't just hold right though, it looks like. Crafting new cycles. Wait! What was that? That was hype. Okay, so I held right the entire, or left on, like, after hitting the spring, and that actually kind of seemed to work. Okay, that's That's kind of nice, actually. If I'm thinking about that, okay. Speaking of thinking, not this guy. Like, that's technically more difficult, but I think it's overall safer. Because I can just kind of hold the button there, and I don't have to think about, like, landing on top of the spring as much. Yeah, that looks nice. God damn it! Yeah, I like that. Dude, how am I... Okay, I have to be, like, getting baited by a previous cycle in my brain or something. Fuck. I'm telling you, these cycles are evil. And it's honestly worth it to put this much thought into one room, just so that, like, in the actual run, I can flawlessly do it in 2 seconds. It's actually worth it. Because like I said earlier, if I don't do this, I'm just gonna die here 30 trillion times, and I'm gonna, like, hate life. This is what it looks like to actually do it. At least for me, that's how I need to do it. Okay. Sometimes I may forget to reset the door. Oh my, dude, that's scary, because I don't know. I think I just have to dash higher for that, but like at a certain spot. Like, as hype as it would be to do that consistently. Okay, that's definitely death. What the fuck? Yeah. That's strange. I don't know what to think of that. With the dashing on the spring there. I'm pretty sure I hit 3, but I'm just... It's a new cycle, a new plan, so I'm just hammering it home. Ah, damn. Still doable. It is, even if you fuck up the cycle, it is important to try and, like, beat it still, because it's still good practice, because not every run is going to be a hamburger, you know? Sometimes it's, I don't know, rotted meat? I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. Yeah, that feels so much nicer now that I'm doing it. I was thinking, like, should I edit this video? I think the answer is probably not, at least to start. Because I do think for what I'm talking about, okay, this cycle's fucked, but for what I'm talking about, I think it's actually kind of important to, like, have that downtime. Because it's not just about letting me think, it's about, I guess, whoever's watching this think as well. Yeah, guess what I'm thinking. Because as much as I love conversations and dialogue between 2 people, YouTube video form is not always the best for that. It's always one person's thoughts, not really able to have that dialogue unless it's outside in comments or messages that you send, and most people don't go that far. Honestly, most people don't think about the content they watch at all. I think I try to, but when it comes to actually doing something about said video I just watched, or making that information worthwhile in my life actively, pretty bad at doing that, I'd say. At least inherently. Like, obviously, learning more information about something can be a very good way to just broaden your horizons, and maybe that information will come in handy one day. That was not the move. Maybe that information will come in handy one day, and it'll genuinely, like, being educated on a certain topic could make a difference. But, you know, that kind of requires you to actually be doing things, lol. And if you're not doing that, obviously, it's going to be harder to find yourself in that situation. Because really, situations like that are something that you actively place yourself in. 9 times out of 10, you don't just find yourself there. So if you're just kind of mindlessly... Okay, what am I doing here? If you're just mindlessly consuming content, there's no better word for it, then, you know, very easily it could rot your brain, we could say. So I guess the point of all that was to say that, like, leaving some downtime in the video is kind of my way of trying to remedy that fact, where it shouldn't just be me thinking, really. There should be time for you to consider, I don't know, how you feel. And obviously, me just leaving time and space and gaps in a video is not going to force someone to think about themselves, but I can at least give them the space in my video, you know. And whether they choose to use that or not is going to be ultimately up to them, but at least I tried. I felt like the best I can do is talk about it and how I feel about it and get that communicated. And if it resonates, it resonates. And maybe someone can find use in that. And if not, you know what? Hey, at least I tried. That's just how I feel, you know? And not everyone has the same problems I do. I just feel like that's what I would want. Or at least that's what I would need, even if I didn't necessarily know how to want it, you know? Alright, I'm gonna focus on this room for a little bit, given that, let that speech simmer for a second. We'll start counting now, even though I've just been doing runs over and over. One. Beautiful music, isn't it? Hope it's playing well. I don't know the sound levels at all, but we'll figure that out. One. Two. Three. We'll go to 5 if we can. Four. Hey, you know what? We'll take that. I'm gonna keep going till I die, though. Oh, it had to be the next one. That's an impressive death. Like, I don't know how I did that. Okay, we'll get another 3. It's addicting, man. I can't stop. Hey, if you were struggling in a room for so much, just to finally kind of be able to do it, you'd kind of revel in it too. Trust. was that 2? I don't even remember. Oh, hold up. Nope. I think that was at least 3. After that fuck up, I would like to try it a little bit more. Okay. What was that, 3? I think that's 5. Six. Seven. Eight. Nine. What the? Damn, you really tried. 10. I'm gonna go till death. Fuck it. I'm gonna stop counting though. Cause fuck that, who cares? God, how much did I sign up for? Can I just die already? You know, it's kind of funny. When doing these, I end up getting to the end of the level, or the end of the room, specifically, and I reset like that, right? And technically, that will add deaths to the counter of the level. Even though I quote-unquote completed the room and did what I was setting out to do and like beat the room, it counts as a death. Which is kind of funny because you look at the death count after, oh god. You look at the death count after, right? And you'll be like, oh damn, that shit's really high. You died a lot. But, you know, once you realize that truth I just told you, you're like, oh, the death count is not completely accurate. It doesn't really necessarily reflect how much you failed. But like, honestly, I don't think it ever needed to represent that specifically. I don't think that's what it was even trying to do in the first place. The point of the death counter is for you to look back and say, oh god. Oh, hold up. No, that was no way. Alright, we died. The point of the death counter was... Okay, let's return to map. Yep, see that? Look at it, look at it, look at it! Oh, it goes up! It goes up. The point was never to track your failure and make you feel bad. In fact, the game even tells you that. It says you should be proud of your death count. And I think knowing that it can also mean the amount of times that you just practiced, the amount of times that, you know, you got back up again after not just dying, but after even beating the level or the room, right? The amount of times you put the effort to go back and keep doing it even when you did it correctly. And to not make the deaths themselves your only motivation to, like, in this entire process, right? There's something other than deaths that you're abiding by, that you're kind of controlling yourself through. Like, you've got it planned out, and you're not just following the obvious path. And that's kind of the point of practice in general, especially when it comes to, like, doing something difficult. Is more often than not, something is seen as difficult because most people don't know what it takes to actually complete it. And because of that fact, it's not going to be common knowledge in general when it comes to the actual process of doing said thing. Anything. It could be deathless, it could be learning to play the piano, it could be writing poetry, it could be running a country, I don't know. It's because it's not easy. Everyone has ideas and thoughts and feelings towards it, but only the people who truly sit there and complete the task really can, like, talk to each other and be like, yeah, that's what it takes. Because other it's hard to communicate that elsewhere or otherwise. But yeah, I'm gonna try and do a couple berry runs just for the fun of it. After it'd be nice to get a Croning Drool where I feel comfortable in a berry run during those rooms that I just practiced. Ow. And of course, there's a couple smaller jumps, you know. Doesn't even matter if you'll beat that level 90% of, or that screen 90% of the time. And 90% is a good score. What the fuck am I doing? Hold up. Okay, there we go. Doesn't even matter if you can beat that that screen 90% of the time, because again, 90% stacked up 50 rooms in a row. Okay. One of them's gonna hit. That's what makes deathless gets like exponentially more terrifying the longer the level is. Which is why the B-sides in this game are harder than the C-sides to do deathless. Because a lot of the C-sides, they're more difficult jumps, but there's only 3 of them in a level. Whereas the B-sides are more normal length. Ow. I just, like, didn't grab, I guess. Or go high enough. Why is this room like... Okay. It's kind of funny though. When it comes to doing deathless for me, recording it so far, this is the first time I've ever done this, feels like a pretty damn good way to keep myself set on track. It brings back to that original question of like, what's worth recording? And really, I have this problem in general with myself where I don't know how to appreciate myself and what I can do and the thoughts that I have enough to even think to record them or put them to paper or do anything with them, especially artistically. To respect those thoughts and ideas, think they're good enough and worth being recorded. It's for some reason my mind requires extensive reasoning for that, instead of just being okay with whatever I do produce. Well, and it's part of the issue, isn't it? I don't know what I'm gonna produce. Setting a camera in front of me, a microphone, seeing what's gonna come out, see what I feel like is worth saying, what I want to share with you, the listener, the audience, whoever that even is. It could just be me. No one could watch this, and it would still have been worth my time. Because it was worth it for me to say these things to myself. I think that's the real point. Because here I am, practicing a deathless level that I've kind of been sitting on for a couple months. And sure, I was busy doing some things, but you know, other times I was not busy. I just didn't know how to engage with that part of myself that wanted to do something difficult in those moments. I'm gonna focus up a little bit. Made me crouch there. I was so close to the roof. Okay. Let's see. Fuck yeah. Didn't matter how many nerves I had. Good one. Good one. The fucking room after. A little too quick on the spring there, huh? Fuck me. What are we at? An hour? Fuck. Hope you've been enjoying. I've been trying to make it a mix. Conversation, thoughts, game, fun. It's about as mixed as I want it to be, at least. Oh! Or ramming my face into a spike. I don't know, I think that's like, for me specifically, another thing, when it comes to like the type of content I'd want to make, right? I'd say most pieces of content on YouTube or TikTok, most of it is there to kind of entertain, especially in a comedic way. Ow. But like, I think another reason why it took so long to actually make content, and why the Minecraft content that I just had told you about before didn't really resonate with me as I was making it, it's because that's just not who I am. I'm not someone who can sit there and entertain you 24/7. Because, I don't know, I'd rather have an interesting conversation most times. And obviously I've gotten better about trying to just like enjoy the company with other people and just have a good time, because it is important to do that. When it comes to content, I would rather have that enjoyment be the breath of fresh air in between something I think is more important, usually. And obviously, not every video I make has to be as serious or conversational as this one, but I am making something right now, and it feels good to make. And that feeling doesn't come very often. And I cherish that feeling and like understand it so that I can. Wait, what the fuck? This is not savable, by the way, but that's funny. Yeah. I'm like purposefully doing deathless runs here that like don't really matter. Just kind of aimlessly running because I feel like I did enough practice that I can kind of fuck around a little bit and just do some actual runs, see how far I can get. I want to at least see if I can get to like the Golden Ridge, which is the section after, and the room that I died in chapter 3, or the third section with the fuzzies. It's not actually the third section, it's this section of chapter 3, which is the fourth section, because it's a whole thing. Yeah, so I guess to fully explain that, so this is the B-side of the actual story mission, so there's not actually like story elements in this, but in the chapter before this, you fall all the way down the mountain that you're trying to climb, and so this level is you trying to reclimb those parts that you spent the whole game going up, and it's actually a lot easier for various story reasons. They're more difficult and easier at the same time, because technically you took, I don't know, probably 7 to 10 hours to get to that point for like a casual playthrough, but then it's just one level that could take like an hour or two, and you're technically climbing the whole mountain again. So on some level, like, the jumps are more difficult, but you're not spending as much time in each level. You're kind of progressing up the mountain a little faster, and it's actually, I find that very interestingly symbolic of the message of the game as well. I've had conversations with some of my friends about that. Because the game is about fighting that part of yourself that like is preventing you from doing things, which is very apt to this conversation in general. And it's a big reason why I'm so drawn to Deathless, is because it feels like I'm actually having the story create its impact it was designed for by living out this difficult task. If that makes any sense. To kind of reconcile that part of me that says, no, that's a waste of time. You don't need to do that. I'm like, yeah, I don't need to do it, but I also can't do it. So maybe just doing it to prove that I can, and learning what it takes to actually do something difficult for once in my life would be a good task to kind of uphold. And maybe there's actually so much more value to it, to me as a person, than first thought. at first glance. To most people, especially if they just heard, oh, you beat all the levels deathless, they're like, okay. And not that people would judge per se, but for them to personally come to the conclusion of playing this game and saying, I'm gonna beat the levels deathless, would not be on most people's mind. And that's okay, you know, everyone's different. It's just personally how I wanted to resonate with the story, or how it resonated with me, rather. Wow, did not wait 2 frames longer to climb onto that spring. It's okay, I'll do a couple more runs. Like I said, my goal right now with the deathless is to get past that ghost section, at least, and then I'll start fucking around with more practice, likely. Or maybe I'll end the video, I don't know. You can just stop watching. I don't care. Or come back to it. Or leave a hate comment and say I suck. That's cool too. That part never really bothered me about internet culture, I suppose. The hate and the response from other people. Because really, I've always been very internally motivated in general. And the problem with being internally motivated is that if you have no internal motivation, you do nothing. As we've discussed. It all kind of ties together, but I've slowly been trying to like find out what that motivation actually is for me, and it's been a process of, you know, successes and failures, slowly getting better, but ultimately realizing that it's the same affliction over and over again. That's a tough one to bear, because on some level you're like, I know I'm making progress, but on another level I know it still controls me. I will still sit there and watch YouTube for so long and do nothing. But on the other hand, I've been choosing it so much less often, or not as often, and I've been creating environments for myself that like mean that I have easier options, such as talking to my roommates that I enjoy being around, or trying to call a friend or a family member. Things I don't do as much as I could still, but doing it more often enough that it gets me out of the loop, and you know, turns the percentage that of my time that I spend doing things that are not worthwhile slightly lower, which allow me to stay grounded in what I actually want more often, which is, you know, the self-feeding cycle of like, hey, what am I gonna do with my life? It helps. Like, you have to stay grounded for as much as possible if you genuinely want to answer that question, because the moments you spend ignoring it are the ones that go completely unexamined and are, you know, are the parts of your life that need to be examined the most. Ironically enough, because you kind of lose yourself in that process, and when you kind of let yourself get lost in like in a bad way, it's hard to navigate and find your way back. Also, I'm playing much worse because I'm not focusing on the game, but like, I also don't really care because that's not the point right now. You know, the point slips in and out of the game. Because, you know, the question of, well, isn't it kind of a waste of time? Well, it's kind of a waste of time if that's your whole life, if that's all you do. But if I genuinely can make something out of this time spent and turn it into something that like betters my life or betters the people around me, like, then it was, who could say otherwise? No one could convince me, because I know, I've seen it, I know exactly what it's doing. I was there. I wouldn't, and there's, you know, the internally motivated part of myself that doesn't need validation. And hell, honestly, even when I get validation, I don't really feel it that way. it's never real, you know. Not, it never really motivates me. Blessing and a curse. Get to figure everything out for myself. That's how it's always been. Hey, I just reached 250 hours on the save file, so that's cool. Top left corner. Oh, it's dangerous. That was worked out. Gonna focus up a little bit. A little more focus. Oh. Alright, a little more delay. Walking up. Oh, oh, whoa, whoa. I thought I was gonna grab the wall there. I'm not gonna lie. I'll take a sip. Okay. I was almost scared I wouldn't hit that bubble at the top. Oh, wow. Yeah, okay. Well, it's nice to first try that golden section. Golden Ridge section. That's about what I wanted. I think that might be an overall PB as well. Or, yeah, for distance on deathless. We can take a look real quick, actually. We'll return the map. Bros. That would be all the way up to here. Second to last section, actually. So about, I don't know, like, first quarter to a half of that section. And then, of course, 3000. Which I actually practiced this section a lot when I first started. a long while back. I wouldn't mind just practicing this section. Especially since I died, of course. But this section felt so much better, and it feels less of a chokehold on the entire, run at this point. Which actually means I feel a lot closer to beating this than I thought I would. But, never let the hubris get to you. If you just keep doing runs over and over, you'll be like, oh, just one more run, just one more run. As discussed. Dude, it's so easy. It's such an easy section, man. Fuck. I really could do it, though. Oh, oh god. Bro. It's only a minute long, too. Like, come on. Let's see, how am I standing on this one, though? This section. Felt kind of rusty when I did earlier. I used to do this section a lot riskier. Oh god, speaking of. Oh my. Saved. And that's deathless right there, baby. That would have counted. Ah, yeah, that section's tough. Okay. It's okay. We don't need to necessarily practice it right now. I'm just kind of getting a feel. So I probably would like to practice that last room a bit. Yeah, that's always going to be a tough one, too. Yeah, like I said, I did practice this section a lot, very early on, because I was like, okay, so here's how it works with deathless, right? The ending of the level, you really technically don't have to be as good at, because it will be, you don't have to complete it as often, like the room right before the very end of the level, for example, you only have to beat that once. So you could have a 50-50 chance on that room and still complete the run because you're taking one 50-50 like right at the end, and you're not like multiplying those odds with more rooms. Ow. But the flip side to that is that once you're at the final room, you're the most terrified you've been the entire run. And the nerves are shaking, and the thought of you actually completing the run are actually like within the purview of your perspective on this level now. And with a simple 3 to 4 more inputs of your keyboard, which is what I'm using, you could be done with the level. The implications, unfortunately, if you're not careful, will not get lost on you in the moment. And there's a couple ways to rectify that. One, have practiced the end of the level so much that it really doesn't even matter that you're just like jittery as fuck, because you're so practiced with the end anyway that like you could do it while you're asleep. And of course you will still mess up, but once you get over some of those initial jitters of like actually getting to the end, even if you die right at the end, the fact that you have gotten to the end from the very beginning sort of kind of opens up the possibility in your mind that like, oh, this can happen now. I can get there. And the more you do it, the more you become used to it, and the jitters will just go away naturally, right? So it's like dying to jitters is like fine because the jitters will go away. So long as you just keep trying. It's an interesting phenomenon for sure, but reducing the pain of that reality through practice of the end levels is a good idea. Yeah, a little rusty, especially on the last couple screens there. Got a couple of deaths that just kind of piled on and said, "You're not ready," but yeah, whatever. I think I might practice the last section, honestly as well, just a little bit, because it's feeling the most uncomfortable out of them all. Because that's the other thing about the beginning part of the level is that you'd think, oh, oops. Like, so the flip side of the end being the most intense and nerve-wracking, right, would be that the beginning, in order to do any run, you have to do basically the beginning like hundreds of times, right? And so ironically enough, it feels like you almost don't even have to be that good at them, because you could take a couple of 50-50s without even really thinking or trying, and eventually make it to like a harder part of the level. Even if you'd kind of struggle to get there, you'd at least make it to other parts of the level, right? Now, oops, that's not the play. Do not dash upwards. You'll make it, but you won't really necessarily be that good at the beginning part either. But because you're doing it so often, and you're going to be dying at the harder parts anyway, god damn it, I'm not focused at all, it's fine. Because you're dying at the harder parts anyway, you're going to be sent back to the start so often that you're just going to become good at the beginning anyway as well. So you really usually don't have to practice the beginning as much. So knowing that, I actually started a couple months back when I was trying this level to just work my way from the back and see how that felt. Where I tried to do the very end of the level deathless and kind of work my way back and be like, okay, I beat this part of the level deathless. Can I beat everything deathless from the section before that? And then the section before that. And I did that for a little bit. After a while, it was like, okay, these parts of the levels aren't necessarily that difficult. I was like, that ghost level was it slowly became obvious to me that was going to be the problem section anyway. So like, having my funny method for practice wasn't even that useful, because I was just like, okay, this is not what you want. Having a funny way to practice isn't even useful when there's one part of the level that is going to kick your ass 20 times more than the rest of the level. And you're like, okay, at a certain point you have to buck up and just be honest with yourself and be like, this is the thing I need to practice first and foremost, and get this right if I'm ever going to think about beating the rest of this level. Okay, that's not what you do. Yeah, there's a lot that goes into beating a level deathless that you wouldn't expect. It's fun to talk about. That's another thing, to kind of bring it back to the creation and content creation part of it, and like writing down what I know and documenting. Is sometimes I don't realize how much I know about certain things. For example, doing something deathless in Celeste, because I kind of think about it and I'm just like, I probably should have practiced the last section, but whatever. So I'll think about it and I'll be like, yeah, that makes sense. I know that now. There's not an impulse to be like, hey, world, here's how Celeste Deathless works. Because not very many people actually, like, can appreciate that or care. And that's just how it is, and that's like okay. But it's like, it doesn't matter. That's kind of the point of recording yourself, is to be like, I care about this, and I would like to document this. So like, fuck everyone else. This could get no views. I don't care. It mattered to me. And I said that earlier, but it's just another way of coming to that conclusion and thinking about it. I don't know. Honestly, I'm not even aware if I've been speaking in circles. I hope it's been at least correlated enough to like make sense and be cohesive without being repetitive. Yeah, that's the word. But yeah, it feels great to just fucking info dump. And I guess to go back to that question earlier of, well, is it important to other people? I could not possibly know how useful something like this would be to other people while I'm making it. I suppose I could believe that it was useful for myself, and it was, right? But I'm not necessarily making the most accessible content in the traditional sense either. It's not easy for people to sit through 2 hours of a recording of someone doing a Celeste deathless and sit down and for them to be like, hey, I'm gonna actually like take this seriously, and this person is going to like present me with things that are important to me, not just them. And it's like, first of all, the ideas have to be important to you as well, right? The things that I'm saying, they have to apply not just to me, but also to you. But you have to like recognize that as well and be, you know, ready to engage with those thoughts and ideas, which I'm not always ready to. So I imagine other people aren't as well. You're supposed to dash up. Nope. And that's where the part where you just go, hey, it doesn't matter. It mattered. It did matter. And if that's the end of the story, then I've created something that mattered. Doesn't matter to who. And I think, you know, if making art and if making videos and specifically art is that process of saying, hey, it mattered to me first and foremost, then I think this is the place to start. You make something that like no one would watch, and you're like, hey, how can I make this better? And if you just work on that, I think that's how it goes. Because maybe making this video is, there's so many hundreds of things that I'm doing incorrectly to make it a good piece of art, that it's the equivalent of a baby trying to play Celeste for the first time compared to someone who can actually make videos and they're looking like this in-game, you know? But hey, when I first started playing Celeste, I looked like a baby too. And being okay with that is the difficult but important part. Looking like a baby. Babbling. Just saying words as they come to you. Oh, I had that. I just looked away. I looked at the clock. God forsaken me. And I'd forsaken him by looking at the clock. Oh. Bro. Ow! So evil. God, fuck this section. was not the move. Uh-oh. Yeah, no. Too many jumps. God, the worst part about practicing this section is that the cycle stays fucked up as you die. I'm pretty sure. Like, slightly. So it's hard to get, like, a very consistent route through. Especially with the cloud. Yeah, okay. The frame after. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep doing this whole section, kind of low expectation, for a bit here. Although I will restart right now. Just kind of get used to what I remember. Fuck. Yes, I'd say Celeste is unique in the terms of the things that I like doing. That there is enough space and time to actually speak to a camera that is like recording in my face. Whereas if I was gonna do music or play Overwatch, which are like the main other things that I really enjoy, those are almost too focus inducing that like it's hard for me to sit down and just speak. Although that being said, when it comes to Overwatch, I could potentially like watch gameplay, but I'm pretty bad at that, all things considered. Like sitting down and trusting myself. Like it's the same issue I discussed earlier of like trusting my ability to create and thinking that something useful would come out of it. When it comes to like VOD reviewing and finding a concept for my players that I think is useful, there's kind of a lack of trust in my own self, for my own self to find something useful, because I don't really sit down and look at my own gameplay like at all to provide that service to others comfortably. And I know that, and it's torn me apart, and it's one of the big reasons why I've been trying to do stuff like this in the first place, is because I'm trying to like figure out just how deep that rabbit hole goes, because the answer is very far, and I've known that too, but it's always an ongoing process to cut off the head of that Hydra, because you have to do it every time, or else it'll grow back. Oops. Fingers gave out there, not gonna lie. Might be approaching break time soon, but I'm feeling alright. Honestly, mentally, I feel pretty aglow right now, which is a good sign. I promise you, in an actual run, if I get to this part, I'm gonna be taking it so slowly. The part that this is the easiest, right? Like that last flag. So I'll be like, oh my god, if I die on the easiest fucking part, I swear to god. No, it's too quick. Fuck. But tough for him. Just for deathless specifically, like it's already a difficult room, but when it comes to getting the cycle, like damn, it's just hard. Not terrible that time compared to the last time. Oh, that was almost a disaster. Almost jumped too early. I think I'm gonna start. Oh. Dash like that. I think I'm gonna just keep trying to do this section deathless. I'm gonna start from the beginning, and if I start to get some problem areas, I'll try to focus down on them. But for now, I think it really comes down to like relearning, so I'm not too worried right now. And like silly mistakes too, because it's not as much like the ghost room where like I very well could sit down and like come up with a new way to route the room. I kind of know what I'm supposed to do for most of these rooms, because they're a lot more simple in that way and more linear. It just kind of comes down to like not fucking it up, which can be practiced pretty well just by doing the thing. Which, okay, maybe this room I could sit down and get consistent, because it's like once I'm here and I like remember and I see it, I'm like, oh yeah, this one I have to like walk all the way to the edge. You just get flashbanged by like flashbang mentally by the small minute detail in the difficult room, and you're like, fuck, I was doing a 7-minute run. Prepare for everything or die. You know, they always say about audience retention on YouTube, if you have especially long periods of downtime in your video, and the video is long, in general, you're probably going to find that not very many people stick around to actually watch the whole thing, because they have lives, and of course, that's part of the issue, and, you know, other is maybe people don't know how to sit in that silence, or just don't want to. That's, you know, I was there. I've been there a lot. So, I'm not gonna judge, but if I was strictly, my point was that if I was strictly following those, you know, those guidelines of like how to make a good video that will get picked up by the algorithm and shown to many people, a video like this would not be one of them. It's one of those things that would have to like be discovered, and for a person to genuinely take a chance on something that doesn't have the impact of having a million views next to the title of the video, you know? Because at a certain point, when something has, we'll say 100 million views, you can't help but watch it for the sake of like understanding what other people are even watching in the first place, just from like a keeping up with what the fuck is happening culturally, because that's a lot of people. And it exists on a spectrum in between that, of course. Usually a video with good views is implication that it might be even more worth your time, or at least that's the math that gets calculated in our heads when we think about watching something, or at least in mine. Yeah, it's funny because if my viewing habits are shallow, then the kind of content I wish to see or wish to make, my intuition says, well, you'll probably have to make something shallow, like the things you watch. Which, okay, the videos I watch are not always that shallow. In fact, especially recently, I've tried to stray away from that restriction. But, you know, sometimes you come home from after a long day, and you're like, I don't have the mental capacity to like be sitting down for this long ass video about horses or something. I don't know. You know? Fuck. Not the time. I'm not even really paying attention to the game right now. Really, I got some good practice in, and now I'm just like reveling in. Alright, I can fuck around a little bit and do some lighter practice. I know, I almost feel like I'm close to finished with this because we're at least with this video and practicing and playing for now because, you know, it's been a decent amount of time that's passed, and as good as it's been, 2 hours is a long time to do anything. Maybe I finish this up and go just fuck around with music for a while. It's always hard to start something great, but stopping it is even harder. Great for me. Useful for me. As discussed. Oh. What was a misinput? I see, that's part of the nice thing of doing runs deathless is if you kind of zone out a little bit and you're just kind of in the grind of doing things and you're not really thinking about it, forcing yourself to restart all the way can be a good way to like actually reinforce in your head that you're making a mistake. Because it's easy to get caught up in the grind like this and just be like, well, I made a mistake. Yeah, mistakes happen all the time. You have to like re-remember how to sit down and be like, okay, what am I gonna do about this? How am I gonna not make this mistake? Like I was doing earlier. Now, you don't always have to be doing that, but if you're caught up like this all the time, then you'll never get anything done. So the nice thing about deathless, you spend all that time just to make that mistake in that one place. You're kind of forcing yourself to feel that pain and be like, well, fuck. Alright, I guess this is a room that gets me all the time. And you can kind of re-remember to sit down and practice. Because you're kind of wasting your time otherwise, quite obviously. It's a cool dynamic. I'm gonna try and do this section deathless and hold myself accountable here. We'll do that for a little bit, then we'll call it. Actually, I might do a couple more golden runs. Maybe like 3 to 5 of them, depending on how they go. Oh, fuck. Winnable? No! Damn it. A little too far. I almost saved it, though. See, because when you're running deathless, the saves are even more hype. I'm like, damn, I get to keep this run going because of that? That's awesome. Yeah, doing it like this as well gets you primed for when you're actually here with an actual berry and the pressure is kind of on, you're kind of used to having some pressure also. God damn it. Okay. I think I'm going to do this jump like 5 times right now. I don't even care about the rest of it. Whoa, that was close. But yeah, it's to kind of riff on what I was saying earlier. You're doing the deathless part. You're like, okay, I'm gonna reset if I do this deathless or if I die, right? In this contained section, and then you do it a couple times, and then you die in the same section 2 times, and you're like, okay, well, maybe it's kind of fucked up. Maybe I should just sit here and do it. And that's it. That's how you learn. Because I was presented with the option of restarting all the way on this section, or practicing this section, and definitely not continuing after making a mess up. Because that'd be just kind of skipping over the mistake and being like, alright, well, I rolled the 50-50 about 3 times and I made it through. Good job, me. You know? Not very helpful after a certain point. Alright, feeling pretty decent on this. I might restart the run. Yeah. Ow. Whoa. Ah, wow. Cool death. Straight into the spike. Yeah, definitely losing some of that focus, but it's okay. You don't need to be perfect to practice, you just do it. God damn it. What? Huh? Guys, I may be losing it. Everything I've ever worked for. It may be over. God damn it. This happens sometimes. Your brain just being like, you know what, fuck you. Do something else, please. I would like to do the whole section deathless, then I'd say I'm finished. Yeah, we'll do that. That'll be a good way to end it off. Wow. Fuck. But you don't always get what you want, do you? Okay. I, for a second, thought I used too much stamina there, but... Hey, okay. Okay. Alright. Fuck yeah. Came a lot quicker than I thought. It's nice to have a perfectly spaced goal for yourself. We'll take that. Maybe next time I'll, honestly, I think next time I could very well run the whole thing. Like, this was pretty solid practice in 2 hours. So I guess we can look out for that. Hey, you know what? Just to celebrate, we'll do 3 runs. 3. No matter how many, no matter how bad the death is, 3 runs. And that'll be what we try here. All right, 2 more. 3 attempts, but I do like to get 1 solid attempt where I like get at least past a couple stages. Because otherwise it feels very anticlimactic. Sucks to lose to first level RNG. Oh, wow. Ooh. No way! Oh my god. That's so fucked up. That's so fucked up. Alright, one more. No, okay. Okay, one more. Okay, one more, but can't end on those. Oh, wow, really? Yeah, that's how it goes. We'll count that. That was enough time, even though it wasn't that great of a run. Oh, but I could do one more. Okay, I can do one more. I can do one more. I can do one more. I really I want to get like a real good try in there, you know, like I want a real good try. Because the thing about when you practice is like your baseline is going to go up, without a doubt. But when it's all fresh on your mind, when you just studied it, so to speak, you just practiced everything, it really is the best time to fit in the perfect run, so to speak, because that's kind of what it takes, right? Is for you to be warmed up on everything. So when you step away and decide to come back later, you're kind of resigning to the fact that you're going to have to relearn a little bit, but everything will be easier from that point on, beyond a doubt. Oh wow, this is savable though. Yeah. What the fuck? That was such a late jump too. Fuck. Man, maybe I just don't got it in me. Alright, this is the last one I'll actually do. Alright, this is the last one I'll actually... God damn it, bro. I just want one okay run. Okay, beyond a shadow of a doubt, this is actually, for real, the last run that I'll do. And no matter what happens, I'll have to call it after. It's over. Yeah, no. Yeah, there's no way to get that back. Okay. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.